I truly praise God for kind of the role that I've been on this week. Really kind of getting back in track and back in tune with Him as I continue to spend more time with Him, dedicate, that separate um, focus to God, as we discussed in some of the earlier messages this week. And I think a great part of that, making yourself disciplined to be able to spend time with God, is to answer requests that people may have in the most genuine way that you can. I struggle with this. A lot of times I may say yes to something when I really want to say no. And I was actually talking about this with a friend yesterday because this friend had made an obligation to someone else who was a really good friend of theirs, and feels bad because they don't really want to participate and they don't know how to say no. And it's like we live in this society where it's kind of made you believe that if you say no to something, you have to have a reason to say no. Like, I can't say no because I just don't want to do it, or I just would rather relax. And I'm starting to get better with it. I really am. It is a serious struggle for me. So as I prayed before I started this message, I asked God to give me something that would help me. So even if it doesn't help you, I pray that I get something from it. And if you do in the process, hopefully we'll grow together. So Matthew chapter 5 verse 37 is Jesus actually speaking. Let what you say be simply yes or no. Anything more than this comes from evil. And when you really dig into what that is saying, it in shorthand, it lets you know that it's a sin to say yes to something and you really want to say no. Uh, Really, when you think about it, just think about the gravity of that. How many times we agree to do something out of fear that someone would not be okay with us not participating or not being there. And then you go and you participate and you're kind of miserable in the situation. You're not really enjoying it. You're not having a good time. You're not passionate about it. Your desire to fully be in that commitment is not there. And I think that happens to me a lot when it comes to work. Um, I am one of those people who have placed myself in the mindset to kind of chase money. And I would take any overtime opportunity, weekends, late evenings, and I was burning myself out. And it's like, I would do those things with some things that are outside of work as well, but mainly it would be work, or something work related. And then I realized, like, I didn't really want to do it. So I had to say no. And with work, it was a little bit easier because the people that I work with kind of understood where I was coming from with some personal situations. But when it comes to, that family member or that really close friend, that friend you've been friends with for years, or that cousin that you don't hardly ever see, and they ask you to do this one simple thing that you know that you could do and it will be simple, but you had already kind of planned to do nothing. And I know it was one time someone actually had asked me, what are you doing this weekend? And I was like, nothing. And it was like, okay, cool. So can you help me do blah, blah, blah? And I was like, no, I'm sorry. You didn't understand. When I said I planned to do nothing, I plan to do nothing. Um, if you know me personally, you know that I have a full workload all the time. If I'm not doing something or I'm doing something else, I'm probably putting something else off. Hence why I had reached a level of being stressed out that really started to take a toll on me physically. And I have to stop. So I would encourage you to pray about situations that you don't want to participate in, and ask for God's strength to help you say no. But even greater than that, Ask for God's ability to help you discern what you should be a part of in the first place. And I think that's a greater thing that we need to understand, because if you don't need to be a part of something in the first place, you will never feel bad about saying no. If God doesn't want you there and God helps you understand why you shouldn't be there, why your spirit is uncomfortable if you're participating in something that you really want to say no, but you've been guilted in, or you feel obligated to say something out of fear of how someone may respond or feel about you not wanting to do what they asked. Um, I pray that God helps deliver you from that. And to myself, I pray that God helps deliver you from that, because it's not conducive for your spiritual growth. You are compromising your spirituality. And also, if it's something that causes you stress, it can ultimately be a physical hindrance to your actual body. So I would really pray that you help get God's wisdom in that going forward. God doesn't want us to be stressed. God doesn't want us to be in obligations that we aren't supposed to be a part of. And God doesn't want us anywhere that He doesn't want us to be. He will still protect us. He has a provision set out for us, and His grace and mercy is ever abound. So we shall be protected and covered. But why put yourself through stress that you don't have to be? Especially if God doesn't want that for your life. There's a difference between trials and tribulations and you simply picking the difficult road because you don't want to listen to the greater calling that God has on your life. So I pray you guys receive this. I pray that I receive it. And y'all have a blessed day. I will see you next time.